Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video, and this time we are here for the weekly challenges that end next week on July 30. Hey everyone, how have you been? Are you ready for the weekly challenges? Well, I'm going to do everything less the hunter and hunted one as usual. I actually had a chance to test it this time with a pre-made, but things didn't go as planned. The challenge got bugged and we were all left out wondering what the hell was going on. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do all the other weekly challenges and you will be able to earn up to 120 free atoms with this guide. Of course, you can earn more if you manage to do the hunter challenge, but that's going to be difficult. So good luck finding a server with people on queue and hope that it doesn't bug out. Without any further delay, let's begin. I always start with the easiest weekly challenge, which is capturing or claiming a workshop. This week is the Thunder Mountain power plant, which is in the mire, and it is as easy as claiming any other, really. You just have to come here to this location and clear all the enemies around the workshop if there are any. In this case, I had some nasty crickets. I just had to take them down, and then I can contest the workshop. Sometimes there are no enemies around, that's even quicker, so you don't have to kill anything. Then just wait for the claim process to finish, and that's everything you have to do. There you go, 30 free atoms should be yours by now. The following weekly challenge is also very easy to do. You have to destroy 5 assorted robots from the list that Bethesda gives you. Now, I decided to make this a bit more friendly and go to the White Spring Resort. I usually go to Watauga, but that's not so easy for new players to, well, go there. All you have to do here is kill one of each robot. Don't forget that once you attack, they will all start attacking back or defending themselves. So I started with a Protectron, a Sentrybot, and a Mr.Handy. Then I went to one of the gates because there is usually an Assaultron there, as you can see. I think there are some iBots around, but I didn't find any, so I went to Vault 76 because there is a fixed spot for liberators in here and it's very easy to come here. I mean, it's free, so just kill one and you should be done with this weekly as well. Now it's time for the tough weekly challenge of them all, which is gathering building supplies. You can choose from this list, and I first started with wood because I know a few locations with plenty of wood, such as Sylvie and Son's logging camp. It's my favorite, as you probably know. I even equipped the luck perk Woodchucker to increase my gathering results, and after gathering at least a dozen of wood, I realized that it doesn't matter how much wood you pick. All it matters is the number of times you gather wood, and the challenge requires you to do that 250 times. So I quickly gave up on this one because I didn't feel like going through forests and pick up wood 250 times. This is another great location to gather plenty of wood if you are going for this one. So I'm giving you a little help there. Other than that, you should head to forest areas and, well, gather all the wood you can find. I quickly changed the focus for this challenge. I headed to Blackwater Mine where I started killing everything that I saw because these enemies are not so difficult to kill and they always drop their weapons, which is exactly what you want because, well, if you want to farm steel, I'm pretty sure this is the fastest way in game to get as much steel as you need. So get all their weapons. You have a workbench right here. Just don't forget to equip the perk called Scrapper in Intelligence. This is a must, so you get way more materials when you are scrapping gear. and weapons do drop quite a lot. However, specific armor pieces like sturdy drop a ridiculous amount of steel, so if you find that, you might want to scrap it right away. Then go inside the mine and again do the same procedure. Kill all the mole miners that you can find. There are several, I think at least a dozen. So go ahead and kill them all. Don't worry about getting over encumbered, because there is also a workbench here where you usually do Uranian Fever, the event. Ideally, you want to come here when Uranian Fever is up, because then more enemies will spawn and you can easily farm an incredible amount of weapons and scrap them right away. I wasn't so lucky that day, so I did the old-fashioned and farmed the entire mine. And then I scrapped everything until I got enough steel. And a first step is now done. Next, you will want to go to your junk tab and select component view, then start selecting all the components that you need for the challenge, such as oil and aluminium, gears, springs, screws, and something else if you are doing, for example, the copper or the fertilizer, then tag them as well. Don't forget the concrete. That's the one we're going to do right now, because there is some concrete in here. 3 bags right there. There is one more I will show you later, but there can be more. Sometimes it spawns inside working small cars and, well, all over this small room where you do Uranian Fever. But nonetheless, I started going around and checking for all the items that I could pick up that contains the components that we need for the challenge. Blowtorches, oil canisters, aluminium, cans, everything made of aluminium you're going to want to pick up. Also check containers, because they might have stuff inside that you need. And overall, don't worry about getting over encumbered, because we have the workbench in this place, so it's very safe to pick everything you see. And there's the 4th cement bag that I mentioned earlier. And that's pretty much all. Scavenge as much as possible, then scrap and see what's your progress. Obviously, you're going to need more than this, because the amounts they are asking are a bit high. So make sure to head back to the surface, to the same location. I mean, let's be optimal here. So go ahead and scavenge everything that might be useful. Here are 2 more cement bags that we need for the challenge. And keep an eye for all the steel or metal looking objects, because they normally have aluminium or oil, which we both need. So I did this challenge always thinking of the 5 things I needed. In this case, we already did the steel one, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But we need all the other 4, so as soon as I see the magnifying lens in an object, I instantly pick it up to try and do it as quickly as possible. And here there are a lot of blow torches and oil in general in this main building, just so you know. And then the workbench is right here whenever you're ready to scrap everything you have picked up in the surface area. I sometimes go back because I feel like I don't scavenge good enough, and I'm usually right. And again, it's not enough. We are very close to reach more subtasks, but not enough. I headed to the Poseidon energy plant because I know there is a few cement bags in here as well. So I started by scavenging everything that contained what I needed. And you can do this in the entire facility, at least outside. It's decent. It has a medium amount of scrap. I wouldn't say it's high, but it's not low either. And the cement bags are right here at this entrance. There are 4 of them, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th I will show you once I kill these annoying scorch. The 4th is right here in this corner. And there is at least 1 more at the other entrance, which is right here. close to the doors. Then I went ahead to claim the workshop to put a workbench so I can scrap everything in case you are over encumbered. This is always a helpful detail. Anyway, we are now done with concrete, so let's move on to the next location. Another great location with lots of junk is at Morgantown train yard, and you can also find tons of oil and aluminium that we so much need for, well, what we choose for this weekly challenge. First, make sure to kill the annoying scorch when they are following you, and then start doing the same procedure. Look for all the items with a magnifying glass, and don't forget to remove the items that you no longer need. In this case, steel and concrete. I suggest you to head to the main buildings, that's where I got most of the scrap. When it comes to the train yard itself, with all the abandoned trains, I wasn't able to find much there, so maybe you want to skip them and go somewhere else to save you some time and trouble. For your information, there is also a workbench here in front of the main building in this small shack, where you can easily scrap all your junk and see what's the progress of the challenge. In this case, we are now done with springs and screws as well as gears, and you can now remove all of them from your component view in the junk tab. After checking the progress, I realized that we are missing aluminium big time, so I headed to the Pleasant Valley, where you can gather these sky poles, the metal ones. You can ignore the wood ones because we don't need it, unless you are doing the wood one, but even then it doesn't count. So just focus on the metal sky poles, because when you scrap them, they will give you aluminium. They are sometimes difficult to pick up. For example, here I skipped one in the floor because I couldn't pick it up. And there are several spawns to check for them, as you can see. There is one more here, and I will show you the workbench in this place. It's right there in this corner. There's some sort of shack, and as you can see, you get a decent amount of aluminium for, well, the amount of sky poles we can get. There are 2 more spawns ahead, at least it's all I know of in this area. So make sure to gather all of them. I also went back to make sure I gathered everything properly. I missed a few. And by the end of this run, I was 5 aluminium away from completing the subtask, which is exactly what I wanted. I mean, I wanted to finish it in here, but I was almost there, which is also okay. Moving on, I went to the Sunday Brothers cabin where I was able to finish everything. I was also very close to finish the oil subtask, and that's very convenient because inside there is some cooking oil, as well as other sources of oil and aluminium, as you can see from these rusted cans. Don't forget that you need a rank 2 picklock for the door. That's the only inconvenient. If you don't have the perk, you can't really get in here. But overall, you should also scavenge the area because there is plenty of useful stuff to scrap in the house itself, not just the basement, and around the house. This is a farming area, so you will find aluminium as well as oil. And if you are still missing scraps for gears and screws and so on, you might find some here as well. When you are done, just head here to this chemistry workbench, scrap everything, and 40 free atoms should be yours to keep. Woof, that was a long one. So as number 4, we have take camera pictures of wildlife in the Cranberry Bog. It's something that I'm quite used to at this point. It's normally part of the weekly challenges. So I started at Mac's farm, where you can always find mirlurks in here, as well as a mirlurk queen in the lake. So number 1 is done, just a normal mirlurk creature. And then you need to head to the lake here and sometimes go inside, because the queen doesn't always spawn when you are outside of the lake. You just need to take a picture, so I was doing a speed run. I even died in the process, but that's okay. Moving towards south, I went to the creekside Sunder Groove, where I was extremely lucky and I was able to find first gulpers and secondly a 3 stars legendary gulper. I mean, that was extremely lucky. I had never found a legendary in this place before. This is a random event spawn in case you don't know, so you can also find a mega slot here as well as a cheap squatch and many others. Still heading south, you can go to the Ranger District office where you can always find 2 beavers unless they are dead and on respawn time. Otherwise, we'll always find them here at these canals. I found one that was dead already, so I just had to take a picture and left the other alive for the next person that comes by. The Cranberry Glade is one of the few spawns in the Cranberry Bog where you can find toads, anglers, and gulpers as well. I ended up in this amazing, super lucky server where I managed to find them 3 at once. It's such a rare moment. I had never seen this before and I'm playing since the beta time. So here's the proof that you can find the 3 of them in here. Probably just one at a time, but still, proof is proof. Next, I decided to go to the Thunder Mounted Substation TM02 because it's a fixed spawn for a deathclaw, as you probably know. Just go ahead, look for him, and take a picture when his name pops up in the top right corner. That's all you have to do. So far, so good, but what about the bugs, insects? At Lost Home you can find both, but normally you will find rats or bloodbugs. In this case, I found a bloodbug just inside this compound here. You can hear it from miles away, which is quite nice to know if there is one or not. And I left it alive because it's not a common spawn, so you might have to server jump quite a few times. For the guais, I went to the General's Steakhouse because on the main road there is a random event spawn which can spawn a group of guais. Alternatively, you can go to the flooded train yard. That's normally where I used to find them, but this time I couldn't, so I decided to give this location a try, and voila, I was able to do it. You just might have some trouble taking a picture of them alive. I took the challenge, okay? But things didn't go as planned. I actually died during the process, but oh well, that's life. Last but not the least, you should go to the Bog Town. It's where the workshop is. You cannot fast travel directly, but you can just go to a nearby location and then walk there. Why? Because this town is rich in a lot of random spawns, including bugs, both of them, and something else. Yep, snallygasters can spawn here near the workshop. They can also spawn at the flooded train yard. It's a rare spawn, I couldn't find them there, so again I came to another alternative location and I was able to find it. It was my last camera picture and it worked just fine even though they were already dead. For the survival mode weekly challenge Succumb to Depravity, you will have to complete 5 different subtasks in order to get your legendary weapon. Now, I suggest you to start here at the Poseidon Energy Plant. You can somewhat do all of them around this area, and first of all in adventure mode, you should come here and check these tents around me. In this one you can usually find drinks such as this pickaxe, beer. In this crate, sometimes just a normal one. And we will need a drink, so in case you don't have one yet, you can find one there. Then head to survival mode, get a melee weapon and kill a scorched. If you don't have a melee weapon, just kill a few scorch until they drop melee weapons, such as this lead pipe. They drop quite often, and then equip it and kill another scorch, and it will surely complete that sub task. Next, you can go to the Charleston station. You can either fast travel, which is a bit risky, or you can walk there. You will find plants around, such as glowing fungus or even wild animals. Then on the way back to the Poseidon plant, right between the two landmarks, you can find a small lake with water. So if you don't have water, here is your nearby source. You can also find wood in the forest, in the way, or at the camp, such as here and here. Then head to the cooking station, drink what you found or whatever drink you have in your inventory, cook something, and that should be enough to complete another soup task. Next, you need to be mutated. If you're not, head to this toxic water at the power plant. Then head to the workshop area, which is right in front, and then claim it. You need to be mutated for it to count. So again, if you are not, just stay in the toxic water until you get a mutation, if you want to complete this challenge, of course. And we are almost done here. For the remaining two subtasks, you should go to the Charleston station or get back to it. You need to be starving as well. If you're not, wait, just run, sprint, attack. It will starve you faster. And you will always find this rabbit here in front of the station. There are some more squirrels ahead in the mountains if you can find the rabbit. Then you should pick up the meat they drop and eat it right away because it's raw. And that's it. Your weekly challenge for survival mode should now be completed. Your unstoppable monster melee weapon is now yours. You can enjoy it if you don't have it yet. If you think it's not useful enough, which is my case, I have better weapons, you can always scrap it or put it in your vendor for sale. Maybe some other player will find it useful and buy it off you. And that's how you can earn up to 120 free items this week, as well as the 3 stars legendary melee weapon, Unstoppable Monster. If you are new to the game and you haven't found your ideal weapon yet, then this might be something really good actually. Anyway, I have attempted to do the hunted challenge event thing, as I mentioned in the intro, as a premade, but things didn't work out. Actually, Griff was in the event, but he was a white name for me. I couldn't attack him. I then killed G-Man and Sarge, but it said I needed to kill 2 more. By the way, thank you guys for testing this with me. Things didn't work out, and this serves as proof that it's very buggy, and even when you have enough people, things might just not work. I don't think it's worth the effort, but I will leave it to you guys to judge. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel and you learned something today, then feel free to subscribe for more content like that. Also, I have a Patreon page if you would like to check it out. I have tiers for everyone. I am Marta Branco. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Adeus! Bye bye!